Hello guys, I am back with another episode. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and the message reads like this. Hello brother, how are you? So I am a woman who has been married for many years, and God has not yet blessed me with a child of my own. Growing up, my stepmother used to take care of me after my mother had passed away. But there was something wrong about my stepmom. My stepmother didn't like me at all. She was a kind-hearted person sometimes. When I started staying with my stepmother, she was not like that evil stepmother. She was a kind-hearted person. But ever since that I went to visit my grandmother in the village, when I returned back to the city, I saw that things had changed at home. Even my dad had changed too, and I will not know why. And growing up, I never understood why my father had just started hating me like that, because I was like his only daughter. But when I returned from visiting our grandmother in the village, that is when my stepmother and my father started hating me. They sat down with me, then they gave me this new rule. They told me that going forward, if ever I wanted something, I should never go and ask for anything from my father, but I should go to my stepmother first. And growing up, I saw that whenever I would go to my stepmother, if I told her that I needed something, like at school, if they told us that we had to bring something, life was so tough for me because no one was paying for my school fees anymore. I couldn't tell my father because my father and my stepmother had given me that rule that I was not supposed to ask for my father for anything. So many times that I'll be chased out of school if I would go to my stepmom and if I would tell her that I have been kicked out of school simply because my fees has not been paid in time. My stepmother will just tell me not to worry. She will tell me that she was going to pay for my school fees, but sometimes weeks will turn into months and she won't pay the fees. In the end, I had no choice, but I had to drop out of school. I never understood the reason why I had to drop out of school, because at that time my father was actually earning a good salary. So I never understood when my stepmother told me that I had to drop out of school because there was no money in the house. But I had no choice. I had to drop out of school so that my step brothers can continue with their education. Brother Nashi, growing up, life was so tough for me, and I never understood the reason why, but I just had to let it go. When I look back into the past, whenever I think about my father, now I can see that my father, the way that he was behaving, it was like he was not normal anymore. All of a sudden, my stepmother had this power over my father, because there were days when my own father was being abused by my stepmother. Yes, I mean like abuse, physical abuse and emotional abuse. This is what used to take place in our home. My stepmother was like the man of the house, and like my father was like the woman of the house, because sometimes when I'll be doing the house chores, my father, most of the times, whenever you will be at home, sometimes he would wake up in the morning so that he can do all of the house chores, and my stepmom would be just sitting on the couch watching TV. Life was tough at home because whenever I would just make a simple mistake, I'll feel like I would have committed a big crime, and there was no one who stood by me because my own father was being abused by my stepmother. There were many days when I would see my stepmother hitting my father. So I knew that even if I wanted to tell my stepmother that everything that she was doing towards me, it was not good, I knew that she would just hit me because there was no one who was going to stand by me. I was never allowed to enter my parents' bedroom. But when I had started staying with my stepmom, she actually allowed me to enter into her bedroom because we were like the best of friends. Mind you that my stepmom, she doesn't have any daughter, so I was like her own daughter. There were many days, like before she started treating me this bad, she would call me into her bedroom Then we will just sit on her bed as we will be speaking like mother and daughter. But all of a sudden, she told me that she never wanted to see me visiting inside her bedroom. There was this other day that she actually accused me of wanting to sleep with my own father. I was hurt, and like my step brothers, they also used to abuse me a lot. They would hit me, they would yell at me. So this gave me a lot of questions, like why was like my stepmother so heartless towards me like this? And the way that they were abusing my father, it wasn't okay. Then it left me with a lot of questions which I didn't have any answers to, because like my father, he was like someone who didn't have a mind of his own, because like my stepmother was like the one who was thinking for him. Most of the times my father would just go outside, then he would just sit and he would be reading his newspaper. Then there was this other day, because it was like 3 days and I couldn't find my father. I looked for him thinking that something bad had happened to him. I asked my stepmother, and then my stepmother told me not to worry. He told me that my father had gone to visit his elder brother. At least I was okay. But when I saw that my father was not returning from visiting his elder brother back in the village, that is when I started snooping around the rooms. One day, when my stepmother was not at home, on that day I thought maybe she was not at home, but she was just outside. Then I went into her bedroom. I sneaked into her bedroom and I saw that on the bed there was someone who was sleeping on the bed. But that body that was sleeping on the bed, it was not moving. It was like the person who was sleeping on the bed was dead or something. And in my life, I've never seen such a blanket. It was like black in color. It was like a satanic blanket. So when I removed that blanket that was covering my father, that is when he woke up. He was like, "What have you done?" Then my father just collapsed back into the bed. When I saw that my father had just collapsed back into bed, I was so scared. I didn't know what to do anymore. I got frightened. So when I turned around to run, there was someone who was standing behind me. So when I turned around so that I can run out of my parents' bedroom, then that person just punched me straight into the face. Then I blacked out. So on that night when I woke up, something happened to me, Brother Nashi, that I still don't even understand up until this day. I woke up, it was around midnight or so. Actually, the person who walked into my room, it was my stepmom. She told me to wake up. Then I woke up. I followed her outside because she was giving me the sign like, follow me outside. When I went outside, she then blew ashes into my face. Then I saw that a hyena just appeared out of nowhere. I saw my stepmother climbing on top of that hyena. Then she gave me a sign that I had to follow her and also get on top of that hyena as if we were riding a horse. So I followed her. We traveled for about 30 minutes or so. I don't know where we were going exactly whilst we were riding that hyena. That is when we arrived at this other place. It was like people there were having a meeting. Then we met with her friends and I saw that her friends, it was like they were having a braai but without fire. They were actually eating meat. I don't know if it was human meat or maybe they had just slaughtered an animal, but all that I know is that it was like they were having a braai but without fire. Then they offered me the meat. At first I refused because the meat was raw. It had not been cooked, and also those people were just drinking blood. It was gross. So when they started offering me that meat, I refused to eat, but they forced me until I ate that meat. After I had eaten that uncooked meat, that is when I started enjoying it. There were many nights that I'll be in bed waiting for my stepmom to call me so that I can go with her to that place where I knew that they were going to offer me that uncooked meat and the blood. From that time that my stepmother used to offer me that uncooked meat, I grew up into a beautiful lady. Then I got married whilst I was doing all of these evil things. Ever since I got married to my husband doesn't know that I am doing this. In short, I think that I am just a witch. So the kind of things that we are using when we are doing this witchcraft, Brother Nash, is that I know that we are using this snake, but this snake is very big. Ever since I've been riding on this snake, I have never seen the head of that snake, and I have never seen the tail of that snake. All that I know is that the snake is very big, and we have this hyena that we use whenever we are traveling. Sometimes I can actually be walking in the mall or somewhere in town. I can just have a vision, and these visions that I have, sometimes they are just 10 seconds or 5 seconds. I can just feel that behind me there is an evil presence, and when I look around, I'll just see the hyena following me, and it will just stand there looking at me, then it will just disappear. In my own yard, there is this other place at the corner of my yard where I planted this flower, and this flower, I don't want anyone to touch that flower. So what I did is that I took some bricks, then I made a structure around that flower so that my husband and my kids, they won't be able to touch that flower. And I gave them that rule that I don't want them to touch that flower, because buried underneath that flower, there is a lot of things that we are using in this witchcraft thing. When we are doing this witchcraft thing, because like they are creatures, some of them I can't even describe them. So they live buried underneath that flower. And that is why I don't want my husband or my kids to go anywhere near that flower. They just think that mommy loves a flower, but they don't know that underneath that flower, there are creatures that I cannot even describe. I tried to get my husband to join me. There was a time when I tried to turn my husband into becoming a witch like me, but I tried and I failed. So in this witchcraft business that we are doing, there is this kind of a thorn that we use. If we want someone to be a witch, we use that thorn. We just make some markings on the body of that person using the thorn of this certain tree. And if we make enough marks on your body when you are sleeping, then you can turn out to be a witch. So I went into the forest, then I took the thorn from this other tree, then I waited for the evening to come. When my husband was sleeping, I woke up, then I did all the rituals. When I was about to make some markings on his body, suddenly I saw that in my bedroom there were two women. When I looked at those women, I saw that they were witches like me. At first, I tried fighting with them, but those two women overpowered me. They took the thorn that I was holding in my hand. They told me that I cannot transform my husband into becoming a witch like me because his ancestors are fighting for him. And if I try to make those markings on his body, his ancestors were going to come, then they will fight against me and they will kill me. That is when those two witches that had suddenly appeared into my bedroom disappeared. But now, Brother Nashi, I want to stop because I have eaten a lot of people and I have eaten a lot of my relatives. Whoever gives me problem, I just kill, then I eat them. I am tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I need serious help. Everything that I used to use, I have tried to burn it, but I can't. Now I remember the words that my stepmother told me. When I was about to get married, my stepmother called me. Then she apologized for all the bad things that she had done against me. But my stepmother gave me a proverb that I can't still understand. The proverb that my stepmother gave me was like this: my daughter, when I decided to get married to your father, I was also given this proverb. I was told that now that you want to get married to this man, you have to know that before you chose to get married physically, spiritually, you were married already. So in this marriage that you are getting into, if you ever try to choose your physical marriage over your spiritual marriage, you are going to lose everything. That is the same proverb that I am going to give unto you, my daughter. That is what my stepmother told me when I was about to get married. Brother Nashi, this is my own story. If you know anyone that can try to help me, because sometimes I can't sleep at night. I just want to give up on this. The dreams that I have, they are a lot. Some of these visions, they seem like they are true, but in the end, some of them, they are just like dreams. Please help me. Dear listeners, right there was a message that I received from our dear sister. Please let us try to speak with her in the comment section. I'll be back with another episode.